Alright guys, today I'm going to be cutting this white oak. It's a piece of a log a log that we cut in a previous video. It's been down for probably 2 years, so I don't know how good this saw is going to go through this white oak, but I'm basically cutting it for legs for a timber frame table that I'm building for my shop. We'll show you that video in the upcoming videos, but I want to get a 6x6 out of each of these. Usually if you can go 5.5 by 5.5 for a timber frame, they won't warp and bend quite as bad, but we'll see if we can get it. This log's rotting on the end, so I don't know. We'll get one off these first few cuts and then we'll get it around to 6 inches. This sawmill has an automatic up and down feature for it, but also has this debarker that debarks. I'll turn it on. Turn it on. White oak is some of my favorite wood to cut, but it's hard on your blades when you're cutting them. I heard somebody say about white oak that it's hard to get water out of it and it's hard to get water in it. So it's hard to dry it, but if you use it for your trailer board, it's hard for it to rot too. So I know some people that have had white oak for trailer board, they said it's lasted 30 years. There's a house behind our house. It was my old granddad's house, and they used white oak to hold the house up. So it's been there for over 100 years. So white oak works pretty good when you're wanting something to last in the outdoors. So let's take a look at this grain. You can see where that rotten spot's coming in there. But it's got some pretty good grain. Looks like it's kind of spalting a little bit, but I think we'll be fine. Timber framing is something I picked up after getting this sawmill. It's a pretty good way to build. I don't know. I think it's more sturdy. And I always use white oak as the nails for my timber frame. This oak has a certain smell. You know, when you get to where you're cutting a lot on a sawmill, you know, the people that work at the lumber yards, I can bet you, and y'all leave in the comments if this is you, but you can smell a certain tree and you'll know what it is by just the smell. If you hadn't already, like and subscribe to the channel. That helps the YouTube world, YouTube people, to push this video out. One thing about when you cut something hard like white oak on the sawmill, your blade will tend to dip if the blade getting dull, it'll kind of dip on you. I don't think this dipped any. I need to let this bed up so we don't dump this thing off. It's kind of awkward. It's not one to flip on it. You know, we try to box this thing out first and then come back and cut our 6s off of it. So you'll have some live edge pieces at the first. And every white oak that we've cut so far has either had damage to it or it's fallen down. We've cut 2 trees down, and both of them had what looked like some damage to it. The rest of them have been trees that have fallen down. I don't like to cut trees until they've reached their full potential. So you know, if one dies, we're going to obviously cut it and take it. But other than that, we want to see a tree grow. I like for them to get, when they get around 32, 33 inches is when I really want to start thinking about cutting them. There's one that I know of right now that's at 35, it needs to be cut, but I'm waiting on a big order to cut it. But I may not be able to wait much longer. I got a kiln system that I need to build, and so when I get that built, then I may cut that big tree, because it'll be time then. Because then I can dry it and keep it and store it for a while. Let me show you the grain on this white oak. I mean, you can see, I wish I had some water to put on here, but you can see how it has that darkish streak. This thing it'll lighten up and be really, really white once it dries out. Now that we got the two sides off of it, we can flip this thing up, and we'll get a square on the top. We'll get it square, and then we'll cut it 6 inches to the pith. It may not be but one cut, but I really don't know if we're going to get anything out of this log, but we're going to see. That rot really is not good. And once you get all the bark off, you can stop using the debarker. It's no longer necessary. I'm gonna go ahead and square it off. This blade is doing pretty good. So what I can do now is adjust this thing. I think it may be hitting right in the pith, but I can adjust this thing to 6 inches. And so you see my last cut where it was. I'm gonna hit this button here, and that thing's gonna go down to 6 inches. And I think it's gonna be hitting, I mean, it's gonna be right in that pith, but we're gonna go ahead and cut it because that's all we got, and then we'll flip it over and get 6 inches. I think the other side's gonna be better. And then we'll flip it up and then get 6 inches boxed out. We'll box out that pith on the other side. I about messed up right there by not taking that top board off. You see there, that was not smart. See, on these sawmills, you got to look for a lot of things because you can mess up, and I've done it before, where you jam the saw and then you got to go cut it out with a chainsaw. I almost did it just then. Half the log fell apart whenever I flipped it, so I don't know if we're gonna get much off of this. Now this sawmill also has a reading, so I can go all the way down to 6 inches from the bed, looking at my screen here. Like I'm at 10 inches, 7 inches, and that's around 6 there. And that bottom piece is 6 inches. And look, I'm looking to get, if I can get 2.5 feet, I should be good, because I'm just looking for some legs. Now we'll turn these up and cut them, and you can see how bad they are. That'll be used for the fireplace. And we'll get this other one up here. I wasn't sure if I was going to get anything out of this when I started, and now I'm less sure. I'm more sure that I'm not going to get anything out of it. This thing's in bad shape. I need some forks. I got forks, but it's just whatever implement is more valuable to you on the tractor, because I really like that grapple. But when the grapple is on, then I need forks. So the only solution to that is to get a skid steer, I guess. I think we're always looking how to, as men, looking how to justify equipment to our wives, so I need a skid steer. I really am not thinking we're going to get anything out of this log. We'll have to see. Once we get it to the planer, which we'll do in another video, I'm going to show you how I build this timber frame. But I don't know that I'm going to do it with this log. I don't think it's going to work. I'll need 4 legs. So we got it cut into 4 now, but we're going to cut this one down to 6. And again, it's nice to have this where it measures for you, because you don't have to take the tape measure out there and measure it and adjust it manually. It just goes. Now we'll load this thing up and just see what we got. It's good not to let this thing get as old as I have, but of course we're going to plane it. We're going to plane it down. There's going to be more meat in the middle. Probably plane it to 5.5. I mean, it's rough, but a lot of that's going to come off when we plane it. We're just going to have to see in the next few videos when we make it, if it's going to turn out. But if I could get 36 inches, that would be good. But this thing starts rotting at about 33. I might can go 38 maybe if I can get to here. So I mean, I think we could possibly work with. Again, we're going to plane it down. This is of course a 2x. I mean, it's pretty rough looking, but we'll plane it down and cut into it and see what we got. And we'll need some smaller pieces too as the bracing, but we got that at home, I think. And so we should be good, I think, with these 4. But check us out on the next few videos, and we'll see what we can do with this this white oak. I don't know if it'll be the next video or the next, but we got another white oak coming that's probably going to be the next video, and it's one that we're going to actually make some money on. So we're going to let you know how much we make and all that on that other video, and I'll put a link to that one in this video once it's all up and running. But if you hadn't done so, like and subscribe if you've made it this far. It helps the YouTube people.